Hello everybody, welcome back to another recording of SpaceChem, the continuation of the run that we started a little bit earlier. Pardon me just a moment, the music is a little bit loud. Let's see if I can adjust that on my end. There we go. Yeah, it's crowding out my thinking. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the profile that I'm actually using for this playthrough. And for those of you who missed part 1, I strongly recommend you go back and see that. We've already completed the first 2 planets, and in doing so, went through the tutorials. We're beginning Danopth with the mission Every Day is the First Day. No idea why they would call it that, don't really care. I'm more interested in what the actual mission is. In this case, the mission is to take hydrogen and carbon and turn it into acetylene. Let's see. Acetylene, hydrogen, carbon, triple bond to carbon, single bond to hydrogen. Does not seem too complicated, but let's give it a shot and see what's up. I'm gonna start off by just throwing some stuff on the grid. Nothing complicated, just basics. I actually like the idea of starting with the carbon since they're the core molecule and then working my way out. So let's start off with input betas instead. Okay. Grab me a carbon. Move it up a level. When it gets here... just go around the long way. This is a technique we've totally done before. Grab me a carbon. Grab me a second carbon. When it gets within range, we bind them. And now we have double bonded carbon. Actually, we only have single bonded carbon, but if we throw another bond in here, it'll be double bound, and all we'll need is throw in a triple. Actually, hold the phone, that might be the answer right there for a way to speed this up a lot. What if we do one of these? So give me, just so I have a little bit more space to work with, I bond it once, twice, thrice, and then execute a grab over here. So we'll delete that. No, I see what I did wrong already. I'm already mentally picturing having 2 of them. Okay, never mind that. How do you immediately clear? You don't. Okay, I'll just exit and restart. Ah, that saves it. Okay, no matter. Oh, there we go. You can just highlight and delete. That's convenient. Here's what we're gonna do. Start off with in beta. That's the first step. Then move the track so that we have... and you just move past it somehow. It's in beta over here. Grab it. Drop it. In beta again. And now that there are 2 in betas, bind them once, bind them twice, bind them chicken soup with rice, execute the grab drop, and go right past it. Let's see if that works. Carbon. 1, 2. Triple bonded carbon has been produced. That's step 1. Step 2 is going to be to produce single hydrogens bonded to the carbons. Let's go ahead and set up the necessary framework. We're going to want an in alpha. We're going to want an in alpha, and that can be as low as here actually. There's no reason to stick it at the end, so that it'll be waiting. And then when it crosses this point, we can bind it. And that should give us our first. Yep, triple bonded carbon with a single hydrogen off the end. And the shape does not matter, in case you forgot that from the first mission. Though I think we can do better. Let's try and rotate it once, just so we are working with it on a more convenient location. Okay. Maybe not that much more convenient, actually. Let's send the reactants to the right. Shuffle it around appropriately. I'm not actually sure how we're going to do this part. I want to send it off to the right, then I'm going to take a look at it when it gets there and make my mind where we should go next with it. We've got triple bonded carbons, we've got a hydrogen off the end. If I bring it around, turn it 90 degrees and then 90 degrees more so that it comes like this way, I can use the exact same bind instruction. If I had a bind instruction here, that would cause this to bind to this carbon, and then we can use a down arrow to get it out of the loop. Let's try that. Okay, we've got a plan. Let's try it. So like this, new in alpha is going to be necessary, and a bind instruction, was it here, I think? Followed by a down and an out. Let's see if that finishes the molecule for us. That's one. Oh, right idea, but I was trying to bind it on the end of a hydrogen, so that obviously will not work. Instead, let's go ahead and put 2 turn instructions so that it turns around to face the correct direction. That's 1, that's 2, that's the hydrogen, and boom! Acetylene has been produced. It's even in the correct orientation. So, you know, just for icing on the cake. Let's get the drop instruction in place. Tie this all back into the initial loop. Set up the output instruction, and that should be our machine. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the acetylene factory. Triple bonded carbon onto a hydrogen, whip it around. This is not the most efficient way to do it. I could definitely improve the efficiency if I so desired, but I don't so desire, so... Acetylene complete. Let's move on. Takes 3. What the hell it is, of course, is left unspecified, because that would be telling. So, hydrogen, nitrogen, and it takes 3 hydrogens. Gotcha. What we're gonna need is to output ammonia, which is NH3, which is actually a real chemical compound, so, you know, hooray for getting the science right. In fact, all of these have been so far. Once more, I think we're gonna follow the same basic logic of start with the core molecule and then move outwards. In fact, let's use the red track. So we'll just ignore the blue track for now. Same basic logic, right? So we'll start off by producing an input beta, grabbing it, taking it up top. Alright, now what? Now we're going to be making hydrogens, and the hydrogens are going to appear in place that we can get one comboed right off the bat. So let's go in alpha and bind it. And then it's going to come to here, then it's going to go up, and that's going to cause it to crash into the top of the screen if we do it that way. So we're going to have to get at least 1/2 turn in just to keep it safe. So, because I can't think that far ahead, my molecule is now oriented like this, NH. Okay, cool. Next step will be we'll move it right, and... Ideally, I'd want to just bind it here with another alpha, but I need this right turn instruction in order to make this work. Okay, I'm not entirely certain how I'm going to work with that. I have another idea that I'd like to try, and that is setting the bond up here. That way... of course, that makes sense. I don't think that's going to work either. I think that's going to crash. Yeah, nitrogen on hydrogen. Decisions. Well, our initial pattern was already getting us a single bond, so let's hold that for now. We have nitrogen and hydrogen. We're going to need to do a turn just to get it out correctly. So now we have nitrogen and hydrogen going this way. We in alpha again. We send it down, and as we do, we bind it here. So now we have nitrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. Now, how the hell to get it back in there? It would be extremely complicated. So instead, let's use the synchronize command so that blue finishes the job for us. Okay, so now it comes back down here, and it drops its completed load, after which it goes back to the start. So far, so good. Once it drops its load, that's Blue's signal that it's time to go. Now it's Blue's turn to shine. Blue will initially be right here, waiting for its own sync command, which I will happen to include on the exact same square out for, you know, convenience. Once it gets the command, it knows that there is a nitrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen here. So let's shoot it out this way, have it grab the incompleted molecule, go in alpha, here, apply the final bond here, get out, and that should finish it. We'll just put the drops, and I don't know that this is gonna work. I haven't read this through properly, but I would like to try it and see what goes wrong before I try and solve problems that don't exist. So let's, without further ado, give this a try. Nitrogen with 2 hydrogens. Boom. Oh, that's so beautiful. It literally, it hands off the, it's like right here, there's a handshake. They hand off the molecule to each other. And their timings are almost perfect. Red is waiting at most 1 cycle. Look at that, just 1 cycle for Blue to finish its job. And this is why they give you 2 sets of Waldo, so that you can do so much more complicated stuff. I have been thus far only needing to use 1, and that's because the puzzles have not been too complex. But this nitrogen, this ammonia, has pushed me to using both. Next puzzle. Splitting before bonding. Ooh, fancy name. What we have here is H2 and O2, elemental hydrogen and oxygen, that need to be turned into hydrogen peroxide, or H2O2. This will require me to split the oxygen double bond and the hydrogen single bond, and then bind the hydrogens onto the oxygens. Okay. Let's say, for argument's sake, that this is our major splitter. What we need to do is prepare hydrogen. I'm actually a little bit confused as to how I'm going to go about doing this off the bat. Let's try something out so that we have something on the board, and then that will give us an idea for where we need to go next. Let's start with the bigger molecule, so start with the beta input. And we'll grab the oxygen. Or better yet, we know that we need to split the oxygen, right? So let's go ahead and split the oxygen off the bat. And then grab the finalized O2. Now we have the finalized O2, we take it up, and it should be waiting for us up here. We should have elemental hydrogen, which is input alpha, which also needs to be split. So now we have the 2 individual hydrogen atoms. And once we're here, we're gonna... I want to pause it in time. Okay. So what we have is 2 individual hydrogens, and O2 without a bond, and 2 H's waiting. And we need to somehow bind this to this and this to this. But we've already used up all the extra binding pads. If this was rotated 90 degrees this way, and this didn't exist, we could just slide by and bind. Just talking out loud here. Okay. Let's have Blue step in and set things up for us again. Yes, that will be the way this will work best. So Red's job thus far has been prep the oh, did I go too far? No. Prep the O2, wait on the H, split the H, and now it's Blue's job. Blue's gonna set up the H's for us somehow. The most obvious task would be the most obvious task would be to go ahead and move one of them out of the way. So we'll start with that. Have it come grab this guy and literally just move it way the hell out of the way. I don't know why that didn't work, actually. Oh, because I forgot to throw in a sync command. Too tight. God, the music in this game is so fun. Alright, so as this slides by, I can go ahead and do a bind job here. Oh my god, I think I just saw the answer. If blue came back and this were a grab drop, it could drop off the remaining hydrogen. I think this actually might work. So there goes one hydrogen, there goes the bond. Oh, red needs to get moving, of course. Red layer, please. Okay, red chases after it, blue goes around, blue's gonna come back. Ugh, good lord. Can't you see I'm coming up with an idea here? Don't bother me with intelligent stuff. Okay. Still too far. Okay. Blue drops it, leaves it there. This guy comes around the long way, binds it, and drops it off, and we're home free. I don't have enough columns above to get a return path going, though. But conceptually, this would solve the problem. Let me make sure that what steps here are actually required and what are excessive. What if the loop was a whole lot tighter? What if we shortened the blue loop to just, not the minimal frames, but significantly fewer frames? There. Does this work? Grab, split. I'm off. It has to be this row. It has to be on the actual plaque, or on the actual joining bar. Let's try this. Oxygen, hydrogen, first bond. That collision is almost unavoidable at this point. It happens because red has to come down this way. If I could buy red some more time somehow. I need to buy red enough time to make sure that blue has already dropped it. And the simple answer to that is throw in a second sync. Like, what rule is there that says I can only synchronize once, right? And then after that second sync, blue immediately goes to reset the loop. Perfect. Now all we need to do is actually drop this thing off, and we'll be golden. So drop, output mega, and that that is how you make hydrogen peroxide. Wow, that was so satisfying to figure out. Look how beautiful that little blue loop is there. That literally its whole job is just to handle the hydrogens properly around this limited number of join split plates. But there we go. That's another puzzle down. And how am I doing for time? I'm doing okay. I think I can do another couple. Let's do at least one more. Alright, now we've got ourselves an actual full pipeline puzzle. We're taking in methane from this oceanic pump. The oceans of Danop, there are actually numerous lake-sized pools of liquid methane. And we have to spit out hydrogen and ethane. So we need to take the CH3 with an H off the end, combine it with a CH3 and an H off the end, and spit out H2. But I want you to notice they're giving me a special kind of factory here. And this factory doesn't have a bond plus minus plate, but rather only a plus plate, bond or add only. Which, needless to say, makes it a little bit more complicated. Well, the first step is obviously not going to be an assembly, but rather a disassembly step. We need to take in methane and split it to get CH3 and H. So let's go ahead and stick our disassembly reactor as the first factory. And this is actually a very simple to design reaction, so let's just design and finish it really quickly. In alpha, a single split plate here, bond negative. We'll spit out the bigger molecule from the south. So, grab drop, output gamma. See if that does what it should. Oh, whoops, I put the bond minus where I meant to put the grab. Okay, and now we're producing CH3. Perfect. Blue reactor also has to go online in order to spit out the H at the same time. So, blue comes this way, grabs the H off the pad. And just to avoid any collisions, we'll stick it in this square instead of the usual square. So grab drop and output alpha, gamma, or whatever the hell that is. This is prone to collisions, so let's put a sink to make sure they never crash. Sink for this one, before it goes to grab it, we want to make sure that this guy is out of the way from grabbing it. Alright, it works. And the reason we stopped, of course, is because there's no pipeline for it to go out to. So we are now producing, just so I don't lose my place, CH3 and H, right? Okay. So CH3, C, H, H, H3. Okay. And H. And I'm not giving my due diligence to the platform they're on. I should probably have done that. Oh well. Okay. Let's go ahead and you can move these around to make them a little bit less obtrusive. But anyway. Actually, this is very irritating. I'm gonna do this. Move these way out to the side. So what we have here is pipeline number 3 with the hydrogen, pipeline number 4 with the CH3. The next step is going to be to produce these reactions. So an assembly reaction, which takes in CH3 and produces CH3-2. And I can readjust those pipes later for neatness' sake. Put beta, run the reaction please. I want to see what it looks like. Okay, that's what I've got. So step 1, grab it. Step 2, turn it 180 degrees. So that's going to be 2 quarter turns. Step 3, bind it to itself. So a fresh input beta and a joiner. And step 4, oh, whoops. Oh, that's going to be going too low. Perfect. Step 4, drop it off on the pad. And output gamma. Oh, it has to go out through the omega output. Does it actually have to, or can I switch that up? Nope, it does have to go out through that one. Alright, no big deal. It's just going to slow down the reaction slightly. If I cared about efficiency, I would redo it so that the inputs are all facing the right way, but I don't really care. Well, that's off the pad, so obviously need to go in further, and output is asking for the wrong output. Try that. It's still sticking off the mat, so I'm gonna have to go one further. Which means I have to adjust all the arrows, but the good news is these are simple to fix problems. Okay, and we have thus successfully produced ethane. Next step is to produce H2, and after having done ethane, H2 should really be a walk in the park. Given H, produce H2. In alpha, drop down here, grab drop, come over, go one lower, in alpha again, go one higher, bond, go over to this side, drop, and out. And that should do it. Okay, this reactor seems to be in order. This one we already confirmed was doing its job before. And overall, the pipeline is producing. This is by far the most elegant of these 3 pipelines. These are kind of clunky, but they get the job done. And the result is the bays are filling up at an almost even rate with hydrogen and ethane. Okay. That's about the limit of my time for now, unfortunately. I really had hoped to finish this whole world in one run, but I'm already getting close to that time, so I'll stop for now and maybe record another vid later. Hope you all enjoyed watching. Thank you so much. I will catch you guys next time.